Costa Rica, a tropical paradise. However, a third world country plagued by landslides, dangerous road conditions, safety hazards, and constant power outages with electricity and water. Is being a third world country a bad thing? Or does it simply mean that Costa Rica is a developing country and they're doing great things to improve the infrastructure?
Welcome to another absolutely gorgeous day in Costa Rica and a sunny day. We are so glad to see the sun because we've had several days in a row of just torrential rain pour, throughout the day and no sunshine. We're not used to not being able to see the sun for so many days. And even though rainy season, you have some rain throughout the day, the sun usually comes out sometime in the day. But we had a storm that came through.
So while Costa Rica normally has 6 months of rain and 6 months of dry season, and it's really not bad because you can almost set your clock for when it's going to rain. It's pretty much expected. All morning long you have this beautiful weather, you enjoy the sun, but in the afternoon it's going to rain normally a couple of hours. Toward the end of rainy season, you get more than usual rain. However, toward the end of rainy season, that's when the Caribbean starts getting their hurricane season. And while Costa Rica has never, ever had a hurricane actually hit landfall, hurricanes are huge. And because of it, well, we're going to get the side effects. We're going to get the rains from it. And it's an already drenched land from the already end of rainy season. And all of that ended up causing a lot of problems. Which brings us to what we're talking about today.
Right.
Expect the unexpected.
Right, and that's a key to happiness in Costa Rica, is expecting the unexpected. With this rainfall that happened, there's lots of tragedies that happened. There was loss of life, both human and animals, and there was a lot of damage to the infrastructure, to the land, lots of landslides, lots of flooding.
And while we was planning on having a video today that talked about, rental tips on finding a home in Costa Rica, because of the unexpected, it helped us to realize that, we kind of gotten used to expecting the unexpected. And for folks that are coming here, you need to know that, hey, these things in Costa Rica do happen, and it's unlike where you're coming from. It's a less developed country. And so if we can help you to expect the unexpected and what you can do to be prepared for the unexpected, then it can make life way more enjoyable.
Right, just like we had planned to make the video. Well, we had a landslide on our driveway. We couldn't leave, we couldn't go where we needed to go. We were without electricity, we were without internet, and we were without water.
Which kind of makes things a little bit more difficult, which means you have to be flexible in Costa Rica. I'd like to try to schedule a video a week and then hopefully throw in maybe an extra video about something else. And it would be great if I could have a video every Thursday at 8:15 Eastern Standard Time, which reminds me, if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe now. Hit the notification bell so that hopefully you'll be notified when each video does come out. However, as much as I would love to have a video a week, the unexpected happens, things don't happen the way we plan, and so we have to be flexible.
Right, have to be flexible.
The unexpected did happen, and what can we do to prepare for the unexpected? Well, unfortunately, because of this last hurricane, because of all of the extra rain, well, Costa Rica is mountainous, and with all of that rain, it does cause landslides. Now, you'll have some huge landslides that will take out the highways. It will actually cover up the roads, and you may not find a way around. And in Costa Rica, it's small. Sometimes there is no way around. Like our driveway, there's one way in and one way out. And it's not like the city is going to send a utility truck up to dig you out. The neighbors get together, we grab our shovels, and we dig our way out, and we clear the roads so that we can get in and out.
Because we all share this same, we call it a driveway, but it's a road.
It's a little more than a quarter mile up to the house. However, that's a long driveway that we all share. And really, it's only about 3 families that share this road, and we get together and dig our way out. If you're traveling, these landslides can cause some serious problems trying to get to your destination. However, Costa Rica is a beautiful and a wonderful country. But when you come to Costa Rica, you need to learn to expect the unexpected. Today I'm on the way to visit a friend. However, the roads are blocked, and the roads could be blocked for hours. And it could be a matter of anything. It could be a landslide, it could be an accident. But in today's case, well, there's a strike. So there's a strike because people are unhappy about the taxes. And while this doesn't happen often, it does happen. So the best thing to do to prevent something like the unexpected is to make sure that you use an app that I use often called Waze. Waze helps me to be able to find ways around landslides, around strikes, and things of that nature. In today's case, there is a route that goes around, but those routes often will lead to some very small, narrow roads where it may or may not be able to have a bridge to cross the river. So it's one of the things that you got to learn to expect in Costa Rica. On this particular day, I was going to Buenos Aires. Now, I was about 30 minutes from my destination. However, today I was stuck right here. And there's a bridge that crosses this river. Fairly large bridge. However, anytime the Ticos are mad about something and they decide to protest, this is a common place where they will protest because they know that it's very difficult for people to pass or to go around. Well, I checked out Waze and I discovered that I could backtrack on this highway, come over here to Santa Marta, and I could follow this dirt road right here. If I follow this road, which could take me no telling how long, well, I could come here. Looks like I'd have to cross this river, but the rivers look fairly large. The road, as you can see, goes across. So, since the river's large, I can assume that maybe there's a bridge there. Well, I could cross and then I'd be here in Buenos Aires. Now, I'm judging that, hey, I could be stuck at the bridge for no telling a couple of hours, and maybe this would take me an hour, hour and a half, considering from this point, I was about 30 minutes away. I decided I would chance it and see where it goes. But keep in mind, you never know in Costa Rica if these tiny roads, what kind of condition they're going to be in, and is there a bridge here or not? And you might have to travel miles out of your way, but you may end up having to cross a river because Waze doesn't tell you.
Yes, and don't do like my husband and take a chance and cross the river.
It looks like people are possibly crossing, but I just don't know. So I'm gonna do the smart thing and I'm gonna walk across it to see how deep it is. So we're gonna walk across to see how deep it is. Okay, I barely walked across, but I don't know. Okay, so I decided to go, but I'm cautiously and carefully going. And I'm really a little bit worried because it is deep. So watch close, folks. Because now the water is almost over the hood. And there the river picks me up. Do you see that? I'm going to put it in slow motion. And watch again as the river picks up the back end of my vehicle and moves me over. There it is. I'm picked up. Watch the dirt, it stirs up as I land on top of the rock. Stuck in the middle of the river. So it looks like I'm stuck, but I think they're gonna try to give me a hand. Yeah, we ain't sinking, but we are stuck in the river. Somehow I'm on top of a rock and I have centered out. So my wheels are spinning, but I can't go. After about 10 or 15 minutes of rocking back and forth, I dropped it in forward drive low, and I was luckily able to get out.
You might want to make sure, if it's in rainy season, I wouldn't even chance it if it's the height of rainy season. If it's the dry season, most people just drive through the river.
That's right. It's a lot of places in Costa Rica where people typically cross the river, but during dry season, it's very easy to see the road that's underneath the river and you can drive through. During rainy season, well, the water could be a whole lot higher and it could be dangerous. I typically always will walk across the river first so I can determine how deep it is and if it's safe or not. So you do want to be very careful, and you do need to make sure that you have a very good four-wheel drive before you ever take that. However, it is, if you don't have the experience, it's probably not safe to do something like that, because we do know of a couple that
tragically lost their lives
because they tried crossing and didn't have the experience, didn't know any better. So it's not something to take lightly. Do be careful. There are lots of small landslides, and there's a lot of times a little tree might fall and you can't cross. So there are things you can do to be prepared. And I suggest having these 4 things in your vehicle at all times. Have a small shovel, have a machete, have a strap with hooks on it preferably, and have a come-along winch. If you have those 4 things, you'll be amazed that you use a machete all the time. Having to cut branches out of the way is not uncommon, okay? Well, these small landslides, or a lot of places you get to areas where you get stuck. You might have to dig your way out with that shovel, and a come along and a strap with hooks on it can help you to get out in the event you're in a remote area and you do get stuck.
While Ticos are extremely helpful, if they see you stuck, somebody's going to stop and help you. You may be in an area where there's no traffic.
That's right.
Nobody that comes along to help you.
And although Ticos are very helpful, they're not going to have, most of them are not going to have a shovel. They're not going to have a winch, or they're not going to have a strap or a chain. So having those in your vehicle will help you to get out in the event that you find yourself stuck somewhere.
Also, big chunks of land that have houses on them have just at times fallen and covered the people inside in mud.
Costa Rica normally has landslides every year during rainy season. However, it's not normally a whole lot. It's normally one here, one there. With landslides, it does cause dangerous conditions and, utility outages. However, with the utility outages, it's not uncommon for the water to go out for hours, and it's simply because they're making a minor repair somewhere. A lot of the Costa Ricans or the Ticos will install a small water tower, and they put up a little water tank like a 55-gallon drum or a small 100-gallon tank. It's nothing massive, and you're thinking, well, come on, Alan, isn't that kind of ridiculous if you're renting? Well, we're not talking about installing something massive. You install something that's 10 or 12 foot high, and it's something that you can actually move in the event that you go to another rental home. So now you have water so that when the water does go out, you're not inconvenienced. Because it never fails for us. We go for a run, you come back all hot and sweaty, you're ready to take a hot shower, and the water's off for the next several hours, and that's just a pain.
As I remember our first house that we stayed in, we were not expecting the water to be cut off like that, and we're like, hey, what's going on? Why do we keep, so we quickly learned to have some backup water.
That's right, because our neighbor had a little water tower, and it was really nice that she did have one, because the water went out, we'd go to our neighbor's house and get plenty of water, okay? Quickly learned that having a water tower will make life so much easier for you. Not uncommon for the electricity to blink constantly, but sometimes electricity will go out for hours. Now, in Louisiana, we know that every hurricane season, you're going to have outages for long periods of time. So almost everybody has a backup generator in the event that happens. So you can buy these small generators in Costa Rica so that if you run into that problem, you can plug up the generator or crank up the generator and keep on operating. Because you want to keep in mind, if the electricity goes out, your internet goes out. But a generator will fix that problem really quickly.
That's a good little fix.
You do want to keep in mind that you are coming to Costa Rica, which is a third world country. Let's take a look at what a third world country actually means. So as I did some research, Wikipedia says the general definition of the third world can be traced back to the history that nations positioned as neutral and independent during the Cold War were considered as third world countries. And normally, these countries are defined by high poverty rates, lack of resources, and unstable financial standing. I did a little bit more research, and I came across an article that talked about third world countries. And they talked about how third world countries are defined by high poverty rates, economic instability, and lack of essential human resources compared to the rest of the world. So yes, it's factual that Costa Rica is a third world country. That's not a bad thing. Matter of fact, it's a good thing, because Costa Rica is really on the top of the standing when it comes to third world countries, because they're doing so much improvement. And in the time that we've been here since 2013, we've seen lots and lots of improvements to Costa Rica. So they're constantly making improvements. They're developing so that they can become better, and you can enjoy life in Costa Rica so much more.
Yes. Just if you're coming from a first world country, realize that it's not, you're not going to have the infrastructure that maybe you're used to.
That's right. So Costa Rica is still a developing country, a third world country, and it's not at all like the first world country you might be coming from, but they're making lots and lots of improvement. So let's summarize real quick. Understanding that you're coming to a third world country, yes, you're going to have some dangerous driving conditions. You're going to have a lot of safety hazards, and you're going to constantly have utility outages. However, knowing these things and being prepared for them will make life a lot easier for you. A lot of the roads don't have shoulders, which makes it more dangerous, because you do have to pay attention when you're driving, because it is really too easy to drive off the road if you're not paying attention or you're used to having shoulders.
And they don't have sidewalks. They don't have shoulders or sidewalks on a lot of the roads. So a lot of people walk on the side of the actual road.
They have no other option, because there are no sidewalks, there are no shoulders, so they have no choice but to walk in the road, which makes it dangerous and more difficult, because a lot of them, they don't have reflective gear, or they don't have a light, and so you're really having to be very cautious at nighttime. There's not a lot of safety signs that you might be used to that say, hey, sharp curve ahead. There are still a lot of roads that have one-lane bridges, so you have to yield and allow the traffic to pass. There are a lot of roads that don't have any painted lines. So while you're used to having a line down the center of the road, and you're used to having lines on the edge of the road, a lot of the roads don't have painted lines. A lot of the roads don't have reflectors, which makes it very difficult for driving at nighttime. So I highly suggest, once you get here, don't drive at night until you get used to the terrain, you get used to your area. If you don't have to drive at night, don't drive at night. It's very, very dangerous, okay? So those are things to know about. So with that, comment and let us know, did you find this video very helpful? Because there are things that you need to know, but when you learn to expect the unexpected and you're prepared, you can still enjoy paradise in Costa Rica. So with that said, hopefully next week, as long as the unexpected doesn't happen, we'll hopefully get right back on schedule, and hopefully next week we're going to be talking about tips on finding a rental home in some of the best places to live in Costa Rica. Until then, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you can be notified when that next video goes live, and we'll see you next week.
Ciao.